As far as the show goes, guys, I have no idea how it's going to end. I'm so excited to find out. I'm sure it'll be just as devastating as it is satisfying, but yeah, I'm very excited to see how it's all gonna unfold. Oh, no. Luke, you sweet, sweet, naive fool. Hey up guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the final ever episode of Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 6, The Iron Throne. I'm going to throw it out there right now. Big spoiler warning, because yeah, I'm going to spoil the crap out of this episode if you haven't seen it, okay? Let's talk about it. Season 8 of Game of Thrones has been a disappointment. For most fans, myself included, I've felt very underwhelmed with the direction that showrunners Dan and David have taken us, particularly in the last two episodes. The things that transpired in those episodes, everything came together in it just so quickly and so haphazardly, and it didn't feel like the payoff was earned. And after last week's devastating episode, The Bells, which was certainly entertaining, but not truthful to a lot of the character development we've been watching over the 8 years, I was very nervous that the final episode of Game of Thrones, The Iron Throne, just wasn't going to deliver a satisfying conclusion. I've actually lost faith in the showrunners to give us an ending that will make us happy. And whilst I was watching The Iron Throne last night, I did think there was some good moments in it, but overall I was still disappointed. The start of the episode I really liked. It was very somber and you felt the aftermath of the wrath of Dany in King's Landing, and watching Tyrion go through the streets, seeing all the dead bodies and the survivors who were like burnt and charred, and him finding his brother and sister underneath the rubble at the Red Keep was probably my favorite bit of the episode, because I actually teared up at this moment. It was supremely well performed by Peter Dinklage, and I finally got to see all three of the Lannister siblings on the screen together again, but it wasn't the way I wanted it. I wanted them to all be alive, but yeah, we finally got one last shot of the three Lannister siblings, and it was very well done. But I have to say, Peter Dinklage has been a wonderful actor on this show. He's been one of the strongest assets of why the series was so good. Yeah, good to see his character end on a positive note. I also really liked the scene where he confronted Dany and then chucks the Hand of the Queen pin down the steps of King's Landing. That was certainly a ballsy move, but it's in moments like that where the characters really show who they are, and yeah, that was the Tyrion we knew and loved, not the idiot that he's been the last two seasons, making ridiculously dumb choices. But Dany, ugh, it was like being introduced to a brand new character in the final ever episode, because this wasn't her. There wasn't a single drop of remorse for her actions. That stuff about her saying that Cersei was using the people in the Red Keep as a weapon against her, that was utter bullshit. What about the thousands of innocent civilians that were outside the Red Keep? Why did you set them all on fire? They literally never done anything to hurt you, Dany, but okay, just go mad because drama. I did like that shot where Jon came up the steps and you saw Dany and there was the wings in the background of Dragon and it looked like she was a dragon. I thought that was a lovely visual metaphor, saying that she had become the dragon. But when she started talking to Jon about why she did what she did, it didn't even make sense. I mean, she sounded delusional. I couldn't even understand what she was saying. I was hoping we might get some context for this rash, backcrap decision that she did in the previous episode, but the writers couldn't even give us a clear explanation. It was all so vague and ambiguous, and I couldn't stand that because there's no logic to it other than, oh, she's just her father's daughter. She was destined to be mad. It's just like, okay. As we were expecting, it was Jon that ended up having to kill Dany, his queen, his lover, his auntie. I mean, it was painfully obvious in the scene as they were getting closer and closer together, this is where he was going to kill her. And in the back of my mind, I knew Dany was going to have to die for what she did. But I was expecting to be very upset when this happened, but when it did happen, my reaction was actually quite indifferent. I didn't get that emotional, and that's because of how bungled the writers have made Dany's plot arc become in the last 2 episodes. Like, she's become so far removed from all the good stuff that she's done, stuff that we've loved watching her do in the last 7 seasons, and it was just all thrown away in like the last episode. And so when Jon killed her, I didn't even have that much reaction. It was only when Drogon showed up and started doing that thing, you know, that dogs do when their beloved master passes away, where they try to wake them up with their head, and it was just so moving, and that was when I got all teary. Drogon burning the throne was a very awesome moment. This Game of Thrones is officially ended. Love the symbolism there. But why did Drogon burn furniture and not Jon Snow? Could he not figure out how his mother had been killed? I mean, it was kind of obvious. I mean, Drogon gave Jon that weird look in the first episode where he's like, "You harm one hair on her head and I will rain down hell on you." But I guess Jon gets a free pass because he's got Targaryen blood? I don't know, it didn't add up. Also, where is Drogon now? That was a bit of a loose end because he flew off with the corpse of Dany, never to be seen again. What is he doing? Is he retired now in Essos? I mean, what does a dragon do when that dragon has got no siblings to hang out with, no mother to guide them, and no babies to look after? What's the dragon gonna do? I'm kind of curious. But the throne is gone now. Poor Dany didn't get to sit on the damn thing, bless her, but hey, at least it's ushered in a new political system, as Sam was kind of suggesting. Democracy! Even though all the other people just sort of laughed at him and said, no, we'll pick someone from the group to be the leader. We don't want to give the people that choice. Did anybody else find that moment with Edmure Tully just awkward and unnecessary? The remaining figureheads of Westeros all came together to discuss who should be the new ruler of the Seven Kingdoms, and Tyrion, who is a prisoner of the Unsullied, is somehow running the meeting, and it happened. The bookie's favourite came to fruition, and Bran, the buzzkill, gets named as the new ruler of Westeros. I could not believe it. Bran, the most sinfully boring character in the entire series, gets crowned as the best person for the job to be the ruler of 6 kingdoms, not 7, because Sansa's like, oh, I want the North to be an independent state. What a wet fart of an ending that was. Bran, the character who has literally been carried every season, sits back, engages passively, stares at people awkwardly, and just rudely interrupts with buzzkill moments, is now the ruler of Westeros. I actually erupted with laughter when it happened because of how shite this ending was. I've been actively rooting for Bran to die for so long now, and when season 8 started, in the back of my mind, I was a little bit worried that maybe he was going to be the one to be crowned king, because I couldn't for the life of me figure out why on earth the writers would keep Bran around for so long, even though everybody agrees that he's the most boring, dipshit, bland, dull character that has ever existed on this show, and like nobody likes him. But why on earth would they keep him around unless there wasn't some bigger reason or function to it? And lo and behold, it came true. And nope, I'm not happy about this in the slightest, because you can tell that the showrunners were expecting this to be some grand, brilliant moment of payoff and character development where Bran the Cripple becomes the most powerful man in Westeros, and it didn't feel cathartic or joyful in the least, because I don't understand Bran's motives at all, because a few episodes ago, he was saying, I'm not Bran Stark anymore, I can't be the Lord of Winterfell, I don't want anything. So why on earth does he respond to Tyrion when Tyrion says to him, Bran, I think you should be king? And he goes,
why do you think I came all this way?
What? I mean, If he doesn't want to be the Lord of Winterfell, why on earth would he want to be king? But this confirmation is like, why do you think I came all this way? Says he must have wanted it on some level, and all he's done is just sit back and let everything happen around him. And when you think about it, he actively let people, thousands of people, die. I mean, he probably knew that Dany was going to go mad and slaughter thousands upon thousands of innocent civilians, but did he say anything about it? No, because he must have wanted to become king in the long run. So it's like, what a dick! Bran being crowned as the king was not in the least bit satisfying for me. Anyway, he names Tyrion as his hand, which was quite a nice moment, and hopefully this provides Tyrion a way to redeem himself for all the shit mistakes he's made over the last few seasons. But I suppose all he's going to be doing is straining up chairs around the small council table for the rest of his life. What was that about? I will say I really did like the scene where Brienne wrote into the history books Jaime's good deeds that he'd done over the last few seasons and managed to clear up his name, give him, a positive legacy. That was really nice. She's just honourable through and through, Brienne Tarth. But even though she loved him and she knew that Jaime loved Cersei, she still let history know that he died protecting his queen, which was very, very kind of her. And then there's Bronn, the character who I was most certain would die this season, not only goes and survives, but gets rewarded handsomely for all the bad things that he's done. I mean, he's Lord of the Reach, and now he's the Master of Coin, and all it took for him was to almost murder the closest friends he's ever had on this show. Yeah, definitely feels like he's earned his place on the High Council. Sansa became the Queen of the North, and wasn't it just peachy that Jon instantly forgave her for blabbing the secret of his true parents almost minutes after he swore her to secrecy? I mean, hundreds upon thousands of innocent civilians died because she couldn't keep her damn mouth shut, but it's wonderful that there was absolutely no repercussions, that Sansa made this huge, idiotic, disastrous, selfish mistake. In fact, the universe rewarded her by making her Queen of the North. So happy she gets a happy ending. As for Arya, she's heading west of Westeros to live a life of adventure. That seems like a good ending for her. And as for Jon, the man that saved the Seven Kingdoms from a mad tyrant, and what does he get as his reward? Sent to the Night's Watch to live out the rest of his days. This punishment didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me because, for one, I thought the Night's Watch was destroyed back at the end of season 7 when the dead Viserion dragon burnt down Castle Black. But the other thing is, what is the deal with the Night's Watch now? I mean, what is it they are guarding the realms of men from? I mean, the wall has fallen down now. There is no barrier to protect from the forces of North because there really isn't any evil forces in the North anymore. They made peace with the wildlings and the zombies are pretty much extinct, so why does the Night's Watch even exist now? Even Grey Worm thought this was a fitting punishment for Jon committing regicide, but the thing is, Grey Worm is taking the Unsullied and leaving Westeros, so, I mean, why does he even have any jurisdiction? Why is Jon being punished by his brother/cousin Bran if, the Unsullied aren't even around to enforce it? But it doesn't even matter though, because the last scene of the entire series of Game of Thrones is Jon riding north of the Wall with Tormund and a bunch of the Free Folk. Why? Some clarity would be nice. Is he king of the Northern Folk, the Free Folk? Give me some reasons, guys. I was just kind of like, oh wait, that's it? We're done now? Okay. Shit. I mean, this episode wasn't a disaster. It was bittersweet and it was epic and there was still lots of time for intimate character moments and the direction was lovely, the cinematography was gorgeous, the visual effects were stunning. Technically, the episode is a masterpiece, but the problem with this episode and the whole season has been the writing, the pacing, the fact that none of these huge character developments and twists feel earned or deserved. So the end episode, whilst looks nice, did feel unsatisfying to me. I was disappointed. So if I'm going to score the Iron Throne, I'm going to say the last episode of Game of Thrones, for me, gets a score of 6 out of 10. There we go, guys. That is my last ever review of Game of Thrones. The show is done with, but we can still talk about it if you like. I would love to hear what you guys think of this episode, what you thought of how Game of Thrones has ended. If you want to rant, if you want to defend it, what have you, please let your thoughts be known in that comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys do like my channel and you want to support us, you can help me out by hitting that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to click subscribe. It really helps. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find all those links in that video description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and now your watch for Game of Thrones has ended.